This will get their attention. Defend yourselves! I'm not doing any good here!
Hi everybody. So in this video I'm going to kind of be answering the question, what is Iron Harvest and why you should be kind of playing this game. So what is Iron Harvest? Well, you can kind of see the gameplay in the background, can't you? Iron Harvest is an RTS, a real-time strategy game in, as far as I understand it, kind of the classic mould of games like Command and Conquer, and especially games like Company of Heroes and Company of Heroes 2. But what makes it very interesting is that it's set in this fantasy fictional universe that's a little bit like ours, but is a bit different. And it was this universe, the 1920 plus universe, was created by an artist called Jacob Rosalski. And one of the core concepts behind it was that in the First World War, when you had all the powers fighting each other, instead of developing tanks, they developed these big mechs. And in the game, they allude to the fact that it was Tesla who was one of the people kind of behind this. And so you have these lumbering kind of transformer type mechs that are in this kind of, often referred to as diesel punk kind of look. And so the game, being an RTS, is that you control infantry as they wander around the battlefield and artillery, and you control these big mechs that kind of lumber around, and there's lots of different types, and they have different abilities. Some of them are like artillery mechs, some of them have flamethrowers, some of them have machine guns. They're all good at different things, maybe running around quickly and killing, getting behind targets and melee attacking like infantry, or they might be very good at taking out other mechs, or they might be good at transporting soldiers across the battlefield. And kind of the concept is you're looking down at the battlefield in this kind of sort of 3D view, isometric view kind of thing. And then you've got a campaign, so like a single player campaign, and apparently a co-op campaign is coming soon as well. And then you've got multiplayer online, and then you've got skirmishes. So campaign is the single player version of the game, and that's kind of what you're seeing here, where there's a storyline that you're following, and the storyline follows one of the three main sort of protagonists. There's kind of three chapters to it as they make their way through this world where the First World War has finished. This is a number of years afterwards, but there's still issues going on. You've got Polania, I guess, which is Poland, which is kind of occupied by the other forces. You've got Rusviet, which is Russia, which still has the Kaiser in charge, but is having various revolutionary problems. And then you've got Saxony, which I guess is the good old Germans. They've all got kind of different weapons. And so far, what I've played of the Polania campaign, it's really good fun. And it's a bit of a tutorial, the Polania campaign. You start off with just infantry, and then you capture some mechs, and then you have like a mission that then introduces to the idea of base building and resource gathering to be able to build more mechs. Because in the single player campaigns, you'll kind of get objective based modes where you're going through and it's right, capture this bit, capture this bit, capture this bit. You're working your way through the map, and then you get more kind of open-ended skirmish type battles. Now, a skirmish battle in an RTS is you often versus AI, and this is where the core concepts of RTS really come into their own. So this is where it's not just about you fighting the enemies, and choosing where to position your units, but also building factories in essence to get you more units. So you'll build a barracks, you'll build a workshop, you'll build a headquarters, which will then create more soldiers, create more mechs, and then you go out into the battlefield to capture nodes that will give you more resources, so you get more soldiers. So things like oil mines, oil pumps, or iron mines, or destroyed enemy mechs. You scavenge them for parts, which means you can then create more mechs, and so it's about controlling parts of the map so you get more resources to build up your armor, which you can then send against the enemy, or you can defend. And you know, you've got infantry, you've got engineers, you've got anti-tank infantry, you've got machine gunners. You know, there's lots of different things, and the infantry can take on different roles as they're wandering around the battlefield, which is all pretty cool. Now, I'm not an expert at RTSs or RTTs, real-time tactics games, because I kind of missed it out as part of my gaming history. When I sort of finished gaming, the first time was in the PlayStation 2 era, and I think Command and Conquer was out, but I never bothered at picking it up and having a go with it. And it's something that I think I would have probably really liked if I did, because in the current era, you know, PlayStation 4, Xbox, I've played quite a bit of Sudden Strike 4, which is the World War II, maybe more of an RTT, real-time tactics game, because in Sudden Strike 4 you don't actually get to create more units. You can capture units, and more units can be delivered to the battlefield as reinforcements, but you don't make factories to make more Tiger tanks. They just you just fight with what you've got. So it's more of a real-time tactics, I think, more than a real-time strategy. And also in something like Sudden Strike 4, you have much more control over individual tactics that each unit uses. You know, you can choose how you want soldiers to if you want them to crawl along, or if you want them to return fire, and your tanks to put sandbags out in front of them, or the commander to pop his head out of the hatch so he can have a look around. So you get more control that way. Where I feel that, like with the Iron Harvest and the RTS, it's more about general positioning, but making sure that you've got the right units attacking or defending the appropriate other units. You know, they're very much that idea of stone, paper, scissors. You know, the fact that you've got an anti-tank field gun going, an anti-armor field gun going against enemy mechs, rather than some infantry riflemen trying to take on enemy mechs. You know, and making sure that you reposition your mechs to get behind, for example, enemy auto turrets or enemy bunkers, so that they can attack them from their weak spot. So in Iron Harvest, then you've got the single player campaign, which has got lots and lots of missions, and then you've got, you know, Skirmish, which are you against the AI, which are really cool. Then you've got online multiplayer. Now, the history behind Iron Harvest is that it actually started off as a Kickstarter campaign, because the people behind it, King Art Games, felt that there hadn't been an RTS for a long time that captured the essence of those, you know, Command and Conquers and Company of Heroes type games, which are really good fun, and I've had so much fun playing Iron Harvest. I can't say, it really is good. I mean, now I do play it on easy, okay, because I'm not that good, but yeah, so it came out and developed, and now it is very much a game that will develop as it goes along as well. You know, not all the features are in it now that were priced. You know, for example, there's no co-op right now, but by the time you come to watch this video, by the time you come to play the game, it will be. They have also, you've probably seen in all the promotional materials in the videos and things like that, they put PlayStation 4 and they put Xbox at the bottom. But when the game released on the a few days ago, on the 1st of September, the PS4 version, the Xbox version didn't come out, and in fact, if you go on their blog, these versions aren't due out until next year, 2021, which is a bit of a disappointment, but I guess they've got probably quite a small team that they're working on, and they want to get the game running on. However, if like me, you were really looking forward to playing Iron Harvest and were very disappointed when you then learned that it wasn't coming out on PlayStation or Xbox at the same time as PC, if you've got an old laptop or an old PC that can't play games, use GeForce Now. That's what I use. That's what the footage that you're seeing in the background here is all me playing through GeForce Now, which is the game streaming service from Nvidia. So you buy the game on Steam, or go somewhere like cdkeys.com, buy it, you know, get a key for it that's quite a bit cheaper. Then you play it through GeForce Now, and it's perfectly playable. Honestly, this is probably, along with single player games, one of the best types of game to play through a streaming service, because it's not really about the twitch reactions you need in a first person or a third person shooter or a driving game. You know, it's more just point and click and point and drag. It's just point and clicking all the time and moving around. So it works very, very well. Fingers crossed though, Iron Harvest will be coming out on PlayStation and Xbox, and I guess that means PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X after Christmas sometime. And yeah, you should definitely, if you look at the gameplay and think, oh, this looks cool, this really appeals to me. I think if you've got a PC that can play it anyway, you should play it. I think it's definitely worth checking out GeForce Now and having a go with something like the free Destiny 2, the free version of Destiny 2, to see whether GeForce Now works for you. Basically reliant on your internet connection, but I have a crap internet connection and it works fine for me, and I'm playing it over wireless on my laptop as well. And yeah, I mean, it's not as serious as a simulation as far as Sudden Strike 4 is a simulation. I know it isn't really, but you know, Sudden Strike 4 is World War II, and it tries to make it serious like World War II, because you know, in Iron Harvest you've got things like, you've got hero units that you know, a girl with a bear who runs around killing enemies, you know, so it's not that serious. It is more on the fun side, but you know, it's exciting, and for me it has that. What I like about RTSs and RTTs, like in Sudden Strike 4 and Iron Harvest, is that you kind of set all your army up, you set all your units up, and then the enemies come together and all hell breaks loose. And you're just hoping that the preparations you've made in terms of maybe building sandbags or building bunkers or having the right types of units on the battlefield will then work out, and there's explosions, and you can make the occasional tactical decisions of moving a unit around, but there's not much you can do once it all starts off, because it's up to the individual units firing at each other rather than you being in control like it is in a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter. But there we go. So Iron Harvest, really cool, I think, real-time tactics game, real-time strategy game, I should say, in this really cool post-World War One strange world that looks really cool, where the armies rely on these big mechs rather than tanks and air power. And I, for one, am very excited about playing more of it. And also, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to invest in like Company of Heroes 2 as well, and have a crack at that as well. But anyway, that's enough for me. That's what Iron Harvest is. That's why you should play it, and look out for more Iron Harvest content soon. Thank you very much.